Friends, today we are going to deal with the aspect of grant of temporary injunctions. Now, temporary injunctions are an aspect which has been subject matter of discussions and curiosity to everyone as to when exactly temporary injunction could be granted, when the details of an application could be filed, and all these aspects. Now, as we understand, it is once again filed under Order 39 Rules 1 and 2 of Code of Civil Procedure. Now, this is in the form of an interlocutory application which, as I have spoken in my previous video, is required to be filed. Now, when exactly this application has to be filed? Now, Order 39 Rule 1 specifically says an interlocutory application in the form of a temporary injunction can be filed in a pending civil suit. So, one aspect is very much clear, that a suit must be pending. So, as I said in my previous video, what about an appeal? So, appeal is a continuation of the civil suit. So, even in an appeal, an application under Order 39 Rule 1 and 2 of Code of Civil Procedure could be filed. Now, what does Order 39 Rule 1 say? It specifically says where in any suit it is proved by affidavit or otherwise. So, one thing is clear, that an application to be filed under Order 39 Rules 1 has to be supported by an affidavit. And what else? An affidavit is one aspect which is required in support. Karnataka Civil Rules of Practice makes it compulsory that an application under Order 39 must contain an affidavit also, or it must be annexed by an affidavit also. So it clearly says where in any suit it is proved by affidavit or otherwise, that is additional evidence. A, that any property in dispute in a suit is in danger of being wasted, damaged, or alienated by any party to the suit, or wrongfully sold in execution of a decree. Or, coming to subrule B, that the defendant threatens or intends to remove or dispose of his property with a view of defrauding his creditors. Subrule C says that the defendant threatens to dispossess the plaintiff or otherwise cause injury to the plaintiff in relation to any property in dispute in the suit. The court may, by order, grant a temporary injunction to restrain such act or make such other order for the purpose of staying and preventing the wasting, damaging, alienation, sale, removal, or disposition of the property, for dispossession of the plaintiff or otherwise causing injury to the plaintiff in relation to any property in dispute in the suit, as the court thinks fit, until the disposal of the suit or until further orders. So, Order 39 Rule 1 makes it very much clear that in a pending suit, if there is any attempt made by the defendant to dispossess the plaintiff or is trying to dispose of the property or cause any threat to the possession of the plaintiff in respect of the property, then the court in the pending suit can always pass an order of temporary injunction. Friends, one thing which we must remember is Order 39 Rule 1 and 2 of Code of Civil Procedure permits the civil court to pass an order of temporary injunction in a pending suit in order to protect the interest of the plaintiff who has approached the court. Now, various judgments of the High Court and the Supreme Court has in several words have said that what are the necessary ingredients which are required for the purpose of grant of temporary injunction. Now, this is deduced by virtue of the summary of all the various judgments which are passed by the courts in India. The first and foremost limb or first and foremost requirement which the plaintiff or a party seeking temporary injunction is required to prove is prima facie case. What is prima facie case? Prima facie case has been said by the Supreme Court to be a case made out by the party that ultimately at the end of the trial or end of the proceedings, the plaintiff has a likelihood of winning the case, or there are chances that the plaintiff who has approached the court will win the case. And if at all the plaintiff is going to win the case, until the suit is pending before the trial court or the civil court, the right of the plaintiff requires to be protected. Now, that is the sole purpose of grant of temporary injunction. The Supreme Court has also said that grant of temporary injunction is nothing but a step in aid to the main relief. Now, let us assume for a moment a party has approached the civil court for specific performance of an agreement for sale of property. Now, the plaintiff has an agreement executed by the defendant in respect of an immovable property, agreeing to sell the property. Now, the main relief before the civil court is for specific performance of agreement for sale. That is, he is seeking the assistance of the court to direct the defendant to see that a sale deed is executed in his name, by virtue of which he would become the absolute owner of the property. Now, during the pendency of the suit, what if the defendant tries to sell the property to some third party? So, in order to help him get a fair judgment before the trial court, the property must be kept in safe custody, or the property must be safely kept. What is the aspect which helps the plaintiff to see that the property is safely kept? Then the plaintiff has a right to approach the civil court in the said suit which is pending for specific performance and seek a temporary injunction order to restrain the defendant from selling or alienating the property. So the property is secure. So ultimately, if the plaintiff succeeds and gets a decree for specific performance of agreement, then in order to execute and implement the judgment, the property will still exist. There is another aspect, a hypothetical example. A defendant or the other party who is facing trial before the civil court has encroached the property and started constructing a building. The plaintiff's property, a part of which is encroached by the defendant, and the defendant is attempting to put up construction. Now, the plaintiff has approached the court asking the court to help him to remove the construction which is already put up. But the defendant is trying to put up a palace, or he is going to put up a construction before the civil court. Then what would happen? By the end of the trial, the construction would be completed and the whole building would be there existing, and he will not have relief but to seek for demolition of the whole building. So then what exactly the plaintiff can do? He can seek for a temporary injunction to restrain the defendant from further constructing any construction encroaching his property. So that will see or mitigate the plaintiff from unnecessary litigation and unnecessary expenses to demolish the whole structure, so that the structure will remain as such. That is what is called as status quo. So prima facie case is nothing but the court will assess on the basis of the documents and affidavit which is filed by the plaintiff before the court to see that ultimately the plaintiff might succeed in the suit. And if at all he succeeds in the suit, then he will be entitled for the relief. So until then, as an interim protection, the court will come to his help. Now there is a second aspect to this. The Supreme Court has said the balance of convenience. So what is balance of convenience? Once again, the balance of convenience is what is convenient to which party. whether it is beneficial for the plaintiff or whether it is beneficial to the defendant. If at all injunction is granted, whether it is going to ultimately benefit the plaintiff or the defendant. Now, if it is going to benefit the plaintiff, then an injunction in the form of temporary injunction would be granted by the court. The third aspect to this is irreparable injury. Now, what is irreparable injury? Irreparable injury is nothing but an injury which could not be repaired or reimbursed by form of monetary compensation. Now, if at all the defendant cannot compensate the plaintiff in the form of money, then definitely a plaintiff is entitled for a temporary injunction in a pending suit. Let me give you an example. Let us assume for a moment a case is filed against the defendant to restrain him from passing or writing any defamatory article in a newspaper. Now, what would happen if at all I am asking for damages? Defendant, let us assume for a moment, on the bare reading of an article, it is defamatory in nature, and he would continue to pass defamatory remarks throughout the pendency of the suit. Now, in such a situation, am I not entitled for a temporary injunction against the defendant to pass or write any further articles defaming me? Now, whether any form of defamatory articles or defamatory publications can be compensated in the form of money? Definitely no. So that is called as irreparable injury. So the third ingredient is, if at all the plaintiff is able to prove that he is going to suffer irreparable injury, then he would be entitled for temporary injunction. Now, these are the three most important ingredients which are required to be proved by the plaintiff before the trial court or before in a pending civil suit for a prayer or grant of temporary injunction under Order 39, Rule 1. Now, Rule 2 of Order 39 speaks about continuation of this nuisance or destruction of property or dispossession of property. So, it is not only just one act which is sought to be stopped, but all subsequent acts are required to be stopped which the defendant is going to commit during the pendency of the suit. So usually an application is filed for a temporary injunction invoking the provisions of Order 39, Rules 1 and 2 of Code of Civil Procedure. With this guideline, the plaintiff can file an application before a civil court in a pending civil suit. Now, there is one doubt which usually crops up in the mind, whether defendant who is approached the civil court or who is defending his relief before a civil court can seek for injunction or temporary injunction in a civil suit which is filed by the plaintiff. Now, the law goes to the extent of saying that in a civil suit filed by the plaintiff against the defendant also is entitled for or to seek temporary injunction against the plaintiff. If under special circumstances, the court comes to the conclusion that the defendant, by virtue of filing the civil suit, is committing some grave nuisance to the defendant, and the defendant also is going to suffer because of such an act of the plaintiff after the filing of the civil suit, the defendant also can be granted a temporary injunction in a pending suit as against the plaintiff by the civil court. Now, this is the aspect which pertains to the grant of temporary injunction, and denial also would be on the similar grounds. If there is no prima facie case, if there is no balance of convenience in favor of the plaintiff, and the defendant is going to suffer irreparable injury, then definitely injunction or temporary injunction cannot be granted. Now, one aspect which everybody have in mind is, what is the difference between temporary injunction and permanent injunction? Now friends, temporary injunction is passed in a pending civil suit and is passed under the provisions of Order 39, Rules 1 and 2. Now, so far as permanent injunction is concerned, is handled by the provisions of Specific Relief Act under Section 38 of Code of Specific Relief Act, which controls and defines what exactly is permanent injunction. So the grant of temporary injunction criteria is totally different than what you see in Section 38 of Specific Relief Act, under which provision permanent injunction could be granted. Of course, both these reliefs are discretionary in nature, and it is the court's discretion to grant or refuse both the temporary injunction and permanent injunction. So this is the provisions of Order 39's Rule 1 and 2 of Code of Civil Procedure. Thank you, friends.